Good afternoon, everyone. We will begin the webinar in about 2 minutes. Welcome, everyone, and thank you for joining today's webinar featuring the new Sightlines member portal. Before we begin, there's just a few housekeeping items I wanted to address. First of which is, if you have a question as we go through the presentation, please post that in the Go-To panel, which should be located in your right of your screen. We will cover all the questions towards the end of the presentation. The only other item I also wanted to mention was that we'll be posting this webinar to our website, sightlines.com, where you'll be able to download it, share it, or view it once again if you want to review another item. So with that being said, I just wanted to introduce the presenters today. I'm Ted Kale, and I'm sitting alongside Laura Vasilowicz. I'll be presenting a few slides that introduce the member portal and talk about some of the highlights, while Laura will actually walk through the demonstration of the member portal and show you all the new exciting features that we'll be offering. Since 2001, Sightlines has provided members online access to facilities data, industry trends, and benchmarks. Now, I know we have a lot of members on the call today that are probably familiar with some of those screenshots of some of the earlier versions. And seeing it evolve over the years to what it's become and what you'll see in a few moments is very exciting for us and a huge milestone over this time span. So we're very excited to share the new member portal today. So what you told us about our old Sightlines website. Basically, at the beginning of last year, we asked member feedback and input into various aspects of our service and our online portal. Basically, you told us you wanted easier interface to use, to run benchmarks, download data. You wanted to connect the presentation of the website. You basically want to connect the content of the presentation with the website, because what we were told was that once we left campus in that meeting, a lot of the context that we offered when we were on site was lost, and we wanted to make a seamless connection between the two. And finally, there were fewer clicks to get to your data was another main piece of feedback that you offered. So those are three of the most common items, but you can see some of the others here. And basically, we mentioned that we took everyone's feedback when it came to the development of the new member portal. So we took all that advice, and today we're very excited to introduce the Sightlines new member portal. And you'll see a screenshot here, and in just a few minutes, Laura will actually click through everything here, doing a demonstration of all the new features, the details, and some of the data that's available for you. So what do you get with the new member portal? Basically, you have more access, you have more context, more support, more data if you're a ROPA Plus member, and more customization if you're a ROPA Plus member as well. So I'll go through each one of these quickly, and then I'll hand it off to Laura. So on the more access piece, you have the ability to customize dashboards, save them to your home page. You can continue to benchmark over 300 institutions, similar to how you have in the past. We've added a few benchmarks here and there. And then we also have a document library where you can upload documents as well as download documents for your reference moving forward. For more context, there's a My Story section. The My Story section is a new feature, and what this does is provide that seamless experience from the presentation when we're talking through key concepts, recommendations, or core issues for your campus. And we've noted those here on the My Story section, providing more context to the overall analysis when you sign on to the member portal. There's shareable dashboards where you can share information with your colleagues or some of the Sightlines employees as well if you want to have dialogue between the two of us. And finally, the campus profile information. This is a section, as you can see. There's a lot of information, a lot of data here, which is one click away, where you can drill into your detailed information. On the more support section, there's live notifications, which in every previous Sightlines website never existed. So live notifications if we've updated your data, because at that point you'll then know to go run some updated benchmarks. And there'll also be other live notifications about other areas as well. If you have a question, you can just submit that question to your team online, or if you have feedback about the member portal, you can submit that as well. There's the document library as well, which is the last item I mentioned here. And the document library I mentioned because there's a lot of you I know that's renewal season is only a few months away, and instead of emailing your team member, you can actually upload renewal documents to the member portal, and that's where your Sightlines team would download and take that information and go through the entire process of qualifying the information all the way to developing the presentation. So that's for ROPA members. If you're a ROPA Plus member, you get even more. Now, if you're unfamiliar with ROPA Plus, really what we've done is we've developed a three-phased approach. And we have discovery as phase one of ROPA Plus. And really that's where we look at base data, trends, benchmarking, vocabulary, and facilities relationships. For all existing members, you've already gone through the discovery phase of phase one of ROPA Plus. So in addition to that, or above that, we have phase two, which is really looking at prediction. Prediction looks at predicting capital needs, understanding facilities risk, identifying future operating targets. That's the phase two of prediction. Following phase two is performance phase three. That's where we track performance for best-in-class institutions and highlight progress towards goals. This three-phased approach encompasses all of ROPA Plus, whereas everyone should be familiar with the discovery phase one. So above and beyond just the prediction and performance of ROPA Plus, when it comes to the member portal, there'll be more customization and more data. So one of the most exciting features, and Laura will walk through the steps of this, is having the ability to customize and develop your own benchmarks. You'll have access to create a benchmark using our database of information. And our database of information consists of over 400 institutions, 1.3 billion gross square feet of space, 5.9 billion in total operating budgets, and 4.2 billion in total capital investments. This wealth of information and insight that customizing your benchmarks brings to the table. So this is one of the most exciting elements of the member portal. So with that, I'm going to hand it over to Laura to talk about the actual member portal, go through the steps, and I'm sure you'll have a lot of questions as we go through this. So
Great.
Laura.
Thanks, Ted. So for those of you who are familiar with our Sightlines member portal, you will continue to access it just as you have in the past by going to our homepage, sightlines.com, and clicking the blue member login button at the top right. For security reasons, all of the passwords did not transfer over. So when you first log in, please use the Forgot Password button, and you'll be walked through a series of steps to reset your password. If you have any difficulty with that, please contact someone on your Sightlines team. They will be more than happy to assist you and get you up and running on the new member portal. So when you log into the member portal, you'll first be looking at your home page. The home page has a lot of great features, but we're actually going to start up at the top right in what we call your user menu. From your user menu, you can do things such as change your password. You can view notifications. So Ted mentioned before that a brand new feature in the member portal now is that you will receive notifications. They will automatically pop up for you when you log in if you have any. If you don't want them to automatically pop up for you, you can check this Don't Show After Login box, and you would have to manually look at your notifications just as I did from your user menu. You'll have a couple of actions, and you can view, accept, reject, or dismiss any of those notifications. You'll automatically receive notifications when your data has been updated. You'll also get notifications when we've added new members, and you can get notifications when your documents have been posted as well. Another feature that I'll be demonstrating in a minute is our capability to share various peer groups or benchmarks or dashboards across other users of the member portal at your institution. And if ever you receive a shared benchmark or dashboard, you would get a notification of that as well. Back in our user menu, you have easy access to your Sightlines team. So for each institution, you will see the Sightlines individuals who have worked with you over the past year, and you have easy access to all of their contact information. And clicking on the email will open up a new email and allow you to email them very quickly and very easily. In the My Favorite section, you'll have a list of anything that you have set as a favorite, which lets you keep quick and easy access to anything that you use really frequently. They're all listed under this My Favorites menu, and they also appear at various other places around the site if you ever need to get to them more quickly. The Shared With Me page under your user menu will list anything that anyone has shared with you. So again, you can share a dashboard, benchmark, peer group, or document within the member portal with anyone else at your institution who has access to the Sightlines website. Our goal is that this function will help increase the communication of key areas across your campus constituents and also between you and Sightlines and vice versa. Anything that shows up on the Shared With Me page are quick links so that clicking on the blue text will take you directly to that object. Also from the user menu, you can access the peer groups page. I'm going to talk about that in a minute because you can also access that from the home page. And of course, log out, I think, is fairly self-explanatory. So going back to the home page here, the first thing that you'll probably notice when you log in is that we have a home page dashboard set up. This dashboard can be customized by you. You can select from any of our standard Sightlines dashboards, or you can create your own. And this whole dashboard concept is another brand new feature. It was one of the key pieces of feedback that we heard from our members when we paneled them about requested changes to our website. And once again, the goal is to keep the data that matters most to you right at your fingertips. So you can set this dashboard, as I mentioned. You can choose to show 3, 6, or 9 of the benchmarks from your dashboard on your home page. And you can even edit your dashboard from the home page if you wanted to. I'm not going to do that right now because we're going to get into editing dashboards in a few minutes here. Within each of these benchmarks, you'll notice a little eye icon. Clicking on that eye icon lets you get a closer look at that benchmark. It'll open it in a new window. And if applicable, you'll see you can add peer groups and data averages to that benchmark. I'll go through the exact details of those two menus in a moment when we get back to the benchmarking and analytics page. Also, from the home page, you'll notice there's download options on each of these benchmarks. And if you click on this download option, you can print the dashboard. You can download to Excel, so that would download all of the actual numerical data regarding that benchmark to Excel for you. You can also download it to an image or download it to PDF. On the left-hand side, you have a list of your recent items and your favorites. Again, this is meant to keep the things that matter most to you at your fingertips for really quick and easy access. At the bottom left of the home page, you have some quick information about your institution. And then to the right, you have your list of peer groups. As you know, in the old website, you were able to create peer groups. We've now added a lot of functionality on the new member portal that allows you to view them more easily, create them more easily, and also edit and delete them, which are new functions on the new member portal. To view the members listed in your peer group, simply click on the name of that peer group, and you'll see a list of all of the other institutions that you've included in that peer group. Sightlines has already populated for you your standard peer groups that have been used in presentations, so you'll already have peer groups populated for you, but of course you can create your own. Right from this menu, you could either edit a peer group, or you could also share a peer group. More about sharing will come later, though. So I'm also going to show you how to create a new peer group, which I do by clicking on that Create New Peer Group link. The first thing, you're going to want to name your peer group. And you'll notice on the left-hand side here, we have a whole bunch of filters that you can use. If you hover over an institution, you'll get some quick facts about that institution as to where they fall within each of those filter ranges. So for an example here, I'm going to go ahead and click Climate Zone 5 and Research Institutions. And you'll notice that my list filtered down to just show the schools that meet that criteria. Any institution that is listed in blue meets the criteria. If you see black text, it means that that institution is a parent of the institutions in blue that meet the requirement, but that the institution itself does not meet the filtered requirements. We hope that this eliminates any confusion about what peer institution you are selecting. You can use our Select All feature to select all of the institutions listed. You could also click on them individually and they would be added to your list at right. To delete anyone, just click the X. And you can also search for peer institutions in the type ahead search box. And again, just clicking on their name will allow you to add them. You can remove them all by clicking the Remove All filter. And as I mentioned, continue just clicking on them to add them. You then hit Save. Excuse me. And once you save, you'll be taken back to your home page, and you'll notice that the new peer group we just created is listed here on your home page, and we can go ahead and benchmark against them as well. Moving on to the benchmarks and analytics page, this is probably where you'll see some of the biggest change and improvement over our old website. Some of the feedback that we got on this area was that we wanted to be able to change to different chart types. We wanted to be able to add average lines and also build your own benchmarks. And all of these features are available on the new website. When you see a benchmark, whenever there is a little question mark up at the top, it means that there's some information that we provided to you to help you understand what is in the benchmark. You can set a benchmark as a favorite by clicking the heart button. You have all your download options available here as well. You have the share capability. And if applicable, you can add peer groups and data averages. For those of you who were familiar with our old website, you'll know that you had to switch between two different screens just to look at your own information and then compare it to peers. And there was actually a third screen to go to if you wanted a longitudinal peer comparison. Well, the good news is now it's all on one screen and it's much easier to get to. If I wanted to select a peer group, I just drop down on the peer group menu and select my peer group, and the peer information is displayed. It's just as easy to make it a multi-year peer group, again by accessing the peer group menu and clicking multiple. Removing a peer group is also just as easy by unclicking those radial buttons. Another great feature that we've added is the ability for you to add various average lines to the benchmarks. Historically, you were able to see our database average and peer group member average, and you can now select from 6 additional average lines, toggle them on and off at will, and add as many as you would like. So for example, just by clicking the checkbox, you can add the database average for replacement value to your benchmark. Some of the new average lines that we offer now are a public school average, a prep school average, a private school average, a community college's average, and then an entire average over our higher education members. We can also change the benchmark type very easily. So for example, if I wanted to look at a bar chart, I could click on the bar icon and the benchmark chart type is changed. Similarly, a line chart. And another great new feature is the Spreadsheet View, which gives you the actual data behind that benchmark. On the Custom tab is another location where you can access some of your favorite benchmarks and also any recent benchmarks that you've viewed. Also, if anyone has shared a benchmark with you, it would show up under your Custom tab under the Shared With Me section. If you're a ROPA Plus member, as Ted told you before, you do have the capability to create your own benchmark. And when you create your own benchmark, it will show up under your My Custom Benchmark section. So I'm going to demonstrate how to create a benchmark now. Remember that this is a ROPA Plus functionality only. So you would click on Create New Benchmark, and the first thing we need to do is think about what we want to show. So I'm going to build a benchmark that shows my total people costs over time. The first thing I'm going to do is title my benchmark. For my x-axis selection, I'm going to pick operating budget because I know that's where my people costs live. You'll notice that fiscal year, the x-axis automatically populates. Next, I'm going to click down to my y-axis. You'll notice that the y-axis turns orange, indicating that I've selected that button, and that's what I am now viewing. Again, I'm going to select operating budget, and a box will pop up to the right. In it, I can click and type ahead for people, and as my selection that I want appears, all I need to do is click on it. I then hit refresh, and I now have a benchmark showing my actual people costs over time. Suppose now I wonder how my expenses compares to that. I can actually come back into this box, and again, typing ahead, select expenses, and refresh, and I now have both of those measures showing in my benchmark. You can select up to 7 different fields in this left-hand box to show on your benchmark. We can change the chart type in this window as well by selecting the chart type and clicking refresh. And I can also filter on the years that I am viewing. So suppose I look at this and think I'd really like to see 10 through 13 only. I can click on Filters and select Add Filter. I would select Fiscal Year. And from the drop-down menus, select 2010 through 2013. Hit refresh, and my benchmark now only shows me my data from 2010 through 2013. On my Formatting tab, I can change my axis names if I need to. I can change where the legend shows up, so I can change it to the right-hand side instead of the bottom, and I can also choose to show data labels. I'm going to come back to my Fields tab and change my title and hit Save, and we'll be viewing that benchmark that we just created. You'll notice my legend is on the right-hand side, and I do, in fact, have my data labels showing up. Since you're all pretty familiar with Sightlines, you'll know that we never benchmark non-normalized data against your peer institutions. Because these fields that I just selected are not normalized fields, you'll notice that I do not have the peer group and data averages lines appearing at the top. However, if the field I selected was normalized, for example, anything that's on a per GSF basis, we would have the opportunity to add peers and data average lines within custom benchmarking. So I'm going to show you a quick example of that. Again, I'm going to click Create New Benchmark. My first step is to think about what I'm going to build. So I'm going to build utilities cost per GSF over time. Again, I title my benchmark. On my x-axis, once again, I'm going to select operating budget and have fiscal year pop up. Under my y-axis, I'm going to pick operating budget and type ahead for utilities and pick one utilities dollars per GSF actual. I'll go ahead and hit refresh and then save. And once I go to view that benchmark, you'll notice that I can now add my peer groups to this benchmark because I have selected a normalized measure. Moving off now of the benchmarks and analytics and looking at the dashboards. The dashboards entirely, as I mentioned before, are a brand new feature. And since I'm sure you've all been to 1 or 2 Sightlines presentations, you'll know that we often refer to families of benchmarks, making sure that these groups of benchmarks should be viewed in conjunction with each other so that the full story is understood and we're not making decisions based on only one piece of the puzzle. So what we've done for you in your dashboards menu under your Created by Sightlines section is put together these families of metrics so that you can quickly and easily get to them at will. So for example, on space metrics, you'll see some of the key information pop up about your institution, such as the tech rating, the density factor, and your building intensity. You could also look at our facilities budget dashboard, which gives you your operating actuals, your planned maintenance, and your daily service actuals as well. Also on this drop-down menu, you'll see recently viewed dashboards, any dashboards that you've created, any you've set it as favorites, and if any dashboards have been shared with you, you will also see them show up on this menu as well. Everybody can create a new dashboard. So by clicking Create New Dashboard, you'll be taken to the Create or Customize Dashboard page. You can add any of our Sightlines standard benchmarks simply by clicking through the folders and clicking on the name of the benchmark that you would like to add. Within the screen, if you want to change the order, you can click and drag and drop them. You can also delete any of them by clicking the X on the right-hand side. If you're a ROPA Plus member, you can also add any of your custom benchmarks that you've created. So for example, this $ per GSF benchmark that we just made, I can click on its name and it's added to my benchmark, or my dashboard, I'm sorry. You would name your dashboard and hit save. And your dashboard has now been saved and you can view it in this screen. Once you've saved a dashboard from your action menu, you can edit it, export it to PDF or an image, you can print it, you can share it, and when you share it, you'll see this pop-up appear. As I mentioned, you'll be able to share with anybody else at your institution. You can also share with anybody on your Sightlines team. Simply check the box next to their name and hit share. You'll receive a message that it was successful, and they will receive a notification that a dashboard has been shared with them. This share feature is available throughout the peer groups, the dashboards, the benchmarks, and in documents as well. Also from the Actions menu, you can set this dashboard as a favorite. You can delete it, and you can also set it as your homepage dashboard as well. Moving on from the dashboard section, one of the pieces of feedback, as had mentioned before, was that there had been a disconnect between the information that had been presented at the final presentation and what you were able to access on the website. Our campus story section is now where we're able to connect that presentation experience with your member portal experience. This page is customized for each campus and recaps the findings and recommendations for your campus from the last presentation. Clicking on the Campus Story tab lets you access the campus story. Across the top, you'll notice that there are various categories that appear for you. Clicking through them provides you with the tips or findings and recommendations on the left-hand side, and a benchmark that helps to explain and illustrate those findings. As we saw before, we have the download options and our eye icon. So if you wanted to get a closer view at any of the benchmarks that are here, add or remove peers, add or remove data average lines, or just in general play around with that benchmark, you would be able to do that just by clicking on this eye icon. This screen will be updated annually after your final presentation. And speaking of your final presentation, it will be available for quick and easy single-click download right from the Campus Story page. On the Campus Profile page, we have all of your annual data for your campus. It's organized in tab format, so you can click through and find all of the information for your campus. It gives you all of that information with very quick and easy access. On the Documents section, we have more of our new features for the new member portal. In the old website, we were able to post documents for you, and you were able to download them. In our new member portal, not only can we post documents for you, but you can also post and upload documents to the member portal as well. So now, instead of emailing your annual data to us, you can post it to the member portal and share it with us. If you ever had questions then about what was provided in the past, it is all accessible to you. It will be stored there from year to year. And you can create your own folders to help with the document organization. To create a new folder, you just click Create New Folder, enter the name, and hit Create Folder. Once you've done that, you can use the Upload File button to upload a file to that folder, and then you have access to all of the capabilities of the documents within the Documents section. You can open the file, you can download it, you can share it, you can attach it to an email and email it to someone who does not have access to the member portal. You can move it to another folder, edit it, or delete it, all from this screen. One thing that has not changed with the new member portal is the great customer support that you've come to expect from Sightlines. If we come to our support page, we'll find a lot of great things to help you. For example, on the FAQ section, we have a lot of frequently asked questions about Sightlines membership benefits, our services and process, our contract and billing process, and of course the member portal itself. Clicking on the blue text gives you the answer to the question. One of the coolest features that we have that should hopefully help you make the most of your member portal experience is our quick tip video section. So each of these are videos that give you, in under 5 minutes, a real quick and easy walkthrough of the various different features of the member portal. And of course, if at any time you ever have questions about the member portal, your Sightlines membership, or anything else that we can help with, you are welcome to use the Contact Us page. There's a Submit Question and Submit Feedback links. There's also a link to go directly to your Sightlines Team page again. And of course, you're welcome to call us at any time at our main line, and we would be happy to help you. So that concludes the demo portion, and I think we have a few more finalized slides to run through, and then we'll take some questions.
Great. You can just go to the next one, Laura. So as you all know, that was a lot to digest right there. You saw a lot of great new features for both ROPA and ROPA Plus members. And I know based upon one or two of the questions, some of you have been trying to follow along Laura as she went through that. So if you did, congratulations. So when it comes to logging in, I know you're probably all familiar with your old passwords to theoldsightlines.com. We actually have to reset your password. So once you log in, or once you come to the this section of the member login, select Can't Remember Your Password, enter your first name, last name, email address, hit send, and then what will happen is you'll basically get a reset token, and it's at that point that you'll be able to reset your password and have access to that. And if at any point during that process you have a hard time logging in or it doesn't work, please feel free to contact your team, your data lead, or your regional account manager or your regional account executive to help with the password piece. But once you're on there, hopefully you're good to go. And obviously, like most websites, one of the easiest ways to learn the website is actually get in there and play around with it. Also, to help with that, we're going to be having training sessions coming up. There's 2 training sessions, Tuesday, June 10th, and then Wednesday, June 25th. So if you want to basically have an interactive session where you can ask questions as we go through it, you're more than welcome to attend those. Because, in particular on some of the editing fields and customization areas, those take just a little bit of practice to get used to. And we're more than happy to have you join these training sessions if you can. But obviously, these training sessions, if you do have any questions at any point, as Laura mentioned, you can either go to the help section, watch the videos. They're very short and to the point and should help guide you through the member portal. So I know that's a quick 30-minute session of the new member portal. As we said, we're very excited to release this. Went live last night. We have already a lot of traffic on it from a lot of our members. So we're very excited, especially to see how this has evolved over the last really 14 years here at Sightlines. And we hope everyone's excited to see this and play around with the website. So I would say with that, we accepted it. There were a few questions that came on basically as we were going through it, and some people were following along. So I'll turn it over, and I'll read the question, and then Laura, this is one that
Sure.
will have you respond. So it came up as, I don't have the edit option next to display 3, 6, and 9. I believe this is where on the dashboard section we were trying to say, well, how many dashboards do you want on that particular screen?
Sure.
And I would say you might want to pull it up, that way you can show it.
Sure thing. So if you have a Sightlines standard dashboard showing up on your homepage, you do not have edit capabilities of that. If you select a custom dashboard, you will have that edit button showing up on the right-hand side of your screen. So hopefully that answers that question. It looks like there's one more coming in. Can I still view my E&G data separate from my housing data? So yes, so some of our institutions do have breakout views of their campuses. You still can see all of that view broken out, that split out information. If you had access to it before, you'll still have it. The way you'll access it is you'll actually have a little drop-down arrow next to the name of your institution, and clicking on that will list out all of the portions of your campus that you have access to, and you can click on those to change your view to that portion of your campus. The same is true of system users. So if you have access to a state system of institutions, you will also be able to view both the system level summary information and use that same drop-down menu as I just mentioned to access any of the institutions within your system.
Okay.
So the next question is, can I add people to my Sightlines account so that they can view the website? So I think what that is getting to is, can you personally add more people from your institution to have access to the member portal? You personally can't do it, but if you get in touch with your Sightlines team, they can definitely set up some additional users for you as well. So,
okay, no, here's another question. Hopefully this is a simple one. What are the filters on the edit benchmark section? So
sure. Yep. So within the edit benchmark section, the filters that show up there help you to basically narrow down the information that is shown in the benchmark itself. So if you remember, in the first benchmark that we did, we selected filters of the year, and it filtered down the years that I was viewing in the benchmark section. So this is the cleanest example to show you again, is saying if I pick a filter of fiscal year, it's going to filter out any of the fiscal years that I don't want to see and don't see in my range here. So for example, filtering 6 through 10 would only show me the information that I want to see. So basically it lets you take a big picture number and whittle it down a little bit. I can give one.
I say, just to be clear on this, because I want to make sure there's this filter, but then also when picking the benchmark peer group, what are some of the filters like tech rating?
Oh, sure. I'm sorry.
That might have been it as well.
Sure. Let me get back to our peer group screen then. So the filters that are on the peer group screen are far expanded from what we used to have. We have building intensity, the size of the campus. We have service type, the climate zone. So if you're building an energy peer group, that climate zone would be really helpful. The constituent group of the institution. We're now offering whether or not their custodial group is in-house, outsourced, or partial. We got a lot of questions about that in the past, so you can now create peer groups for yourself using that field. We have the density factor, the endowment range of the institution, the enrollment of the institution. If they have if they use cogeneration, we have the cogeneration type listed. So again, really helpful when you're creating peer groups. Your grounds intensity is here. You can also filter maintenance by in-house, outsourced, or partial. Look at public and private schools. Look at the region, the tech rating, urbanization, and the utility distribution type for the campus. So really a lot of options to help you build the right peer group that gives you the story and the comp group that you need to make the right decision.
Sure, sure. And that way we just make sure that whatever the filter was, we covered both of those.
Yeah.
And this is something, for those familiar with the old website, we did have some filter capabilities when it came to benchmark group. But one of the things that we ran up to as a challenge when it came to that was just the sample size of our database. With only 100 or 200 institutions, once you filter various things, the sample size becomes really small. But now that we have over 400, we have confidence that we can add to this or have all these and potentially add to it moving forward on the filter side. So another quick question came up on GoGreen. Are GoGreen metrics viewable on this portal?
Yes, GoGreen metrics are coming soon, so we have to build a little anticipation for them. We hope in the next few weeks. All of the same information that you were able to access for your GoGreen information will be available in the new member portal, all the standard benchmarks. There'll be a host of standard dashboards for GoGreen as well. You'll still be able to add peers and data averages to those peer groups, to the GoGreen benchmarks and dashboards as well. So a lot of the same great functionality that we're showing you right now for ROPA, you will also have for GoGreen.
Other question just came in. Is it possible for a vice president to have limited access? That sounds like an experienced Sightlines user to me.
It does. So I would say to that, please contact your Sightlines team and talk about what type of access you would like to have that person see when they go to the website. We may be able to accommodate it given some of our permission classes, and we'd be happy to try and work through with you to give them the access that they need so that they can use the member portal as well.
Another one came up on Campus Story. If you could, I would say, the question is, well, how do you pick which actually shows up here on the Campus Story?
Sure. By clicking on the title up here on the left-hand side, or I'm sorry, the top of the screen here, it will change which one you're viewing. So there, for each of you, you'll probably log in and see between 3 and 5 categories that we're calling them up here at the top, and you just click on the name of the category, and all the information down here will then reflect the findings and recommendations for that category and a benchmark to help explain those findings and recommendations as well.
Okay. There's just another question on the customized benchmarks.
Yes.
Just, it seems like there's just this person a little confused on basically how that process works, X and Y axis.
Sure.
So I would just say, and this is one where I think the training session will spend a lot of time on that. But if you could just maybe do one more quick one, so that way this person can see what it looks like.
Yeah, sure thing. So when you first open that Create New Benchmark screen, you're automatically going to be shown and locked on your X-axis. So when you're on your X-axis, basically you just need to think about what is it that you want to show in your benchmark and where does that information kind of live in the Sightlines world. So let's say we want to do a benchmark that's showing our, let's say, priority backlog dollars per square foot. So that would live in, where do you think, Ted?
Backlog.
Right. Okay, good. So we're going to go and pick backlog as our X-axis for that one. We then want to say, all right, well, what's on our Y-axis? What are we measuring on that vertical axis? So we're going to click on Y-axis, go to AR backlog, and I'm just going to start to type priority. I can pick my infrastructure priority backlog and hit refresh, and my benchmark is generated. My title of my Y-axis automatically generates based on that first thing that I select. And then I can change the title of the benchmark as well. You can always go back if you think, wait, that wasn't what I wanted, and change your X-axis selection to another area and change your Y-axis to another selection. You could also, even if you wanted to, add a selection from another area here by clicking again on a different area and selecting a measure within this group as well.
Great, great. Another question came in. Can users change the campus story?
No, they cannot. That is a great question. So the campus story is not an interactive screen from your perspective. It is a way for us to continue to present the information that we have shared with you at the final presentation. So users cannot edit this screen, but you are more than welcome to use our dashboards and benchmarks section to create a campus story for yourself and share it with anyone else who you'd like to share information with at your campus.
I would say, as of now, there's no other questions, but I would say we'll stay on the call for a little bit as they come in.
Yeah. So, and as we've mentioned a few times, if you have any questions, any feedback, any difficulties getting into the member portal, please contact your Sightlines team. We're all here to help, and we are really eager to let you guys loose on the website and really start reaping the benefits of all of the new features and capabilities that we now offer to you.
Oh, another question came in. Can you include definitions of building intensity and density factor?
Absolutely. Again,
and grounds intensity.
Well, I can't do the third one, Ted. I'm just kidding. Yes, if you go to the benchmarks page and click on our Sightlines standard benchmarks and click on, for example, building intensity, you'll have that little question mark, and that gives you a really good definition of what's being shown in that benchmark. And that is true of almost all of the Sightlines standard benchmarks have that question mark to give you the information that you need about the benchmarks you're looking at so you know what you're viewing.
Okay. Then just another one. How detailed is the campus profile section?
Sure. The campus profile section does go into quite a bit of detail. For example, let's look at the space tab. You can get measures such as your replacement value. You can look at the distribution of function, the distribution by age category, and weighted age of a square foot. On the staffing tab, it goes down as far as the different trades FTE totals for your campus. And of course, if you needed anything else, very shortly, if not already, you will have a download ROPA summary button showing up on this page, and you'll be able to download your ROPA summary directly from this page. You always did have access to that on our old website, but you can now download it for yourself, and that gives you access to everything that we benchmark and everything that we collect for you.
Okay. Nothing coming through just yet, but I would say we'll still hang tight in case questions come up.
Yeah. Actually, if you're on the call and you want to try and log in right now and make sure everything is working out for you and we can address issues kind of on the fly if you're having any difficulties. And if not, thank you for joining us. We are going to stay on the call for a few minutes, but if you want to get off and get back to campus-related endeavors that do not involve the Sightlines member portal, I'll allow it. Thank you for joining us today.
Yes, thank you very much. And we'll, as Laura said, we'll stay on for a few more minutes. But feel free to log in, please, and play around with the site. We're very, very excited about this for all of our members.
Yep. So we have one more question. How do I know if someone shared something with me? So I mentioned before this notification section up at the top. If someone shares something with you, you will automatically get a notification that says somebody has tried to share either a peer group, a benchmark, a dashboard, or a document with you. You'll get that notification in your notification screen, and you can either accept it or reject it at that point. If you accept it, it'll automatically show up on your Shared With Me menu in whichever option it was. So if it was a peer group, it'll show up under Shared With Me in Peer Group. If it was a benchmark, it'll show up on your Custom tab under Shared With Me in the Custom Benchmarking area. And if it's a dashboard, it will show up under the Shared With Me on the Dashboards menu as well.
So we're not getting any additional questions coming in. So I would say we'll end the webinar now. Like I mentioned earlier, we'll post this to our website in the next day or so. So if you want to revisit some of the click-throughs that Laura did, you'll be able to not only hear, but you'll be able to see where she clicked. And as I mentioned, the training sessions, and feel free to contact us anytime to assist you with the member portal, or really anything else. So thank you again for joining today's webinar, and please provide feedback on the member portal moving forward, because we're really excited to share it and have our members utilize its full capability. Thank you again, and have a great day.